What's up guys, Mr. Audio here. In this video I'm going to show you how I master tracks with Ozone 9. I'll be going over some EQ techniques, mid-side, left-right, dynamic, some dynamics processing. I'll go over the exciter, the stereo imager, and of course the maximizer. Let's dive right in, get to it. Alright, so we got Ozone up here, we got the track up here. Let's get to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan the waveform for the loudest part of the song. It'll be the densest. It's usually towards the end, and I think this is the good spot right here. We're going to click the master assist function. It's going to help us out here. We're going to click the modern module because it's a modern song. We're going to click the medium intensity because it doesn't need to be intensive processing. There's not a lot going on. And we're going to hit the streaming setting. It'll get us in the ballpark for the right ceiling. I'm going to move it a little bit, but all right, let's give it a whirl. Usually you'll hear clicking or popping at this stage. It'll sound weird like it's skipping. Just ignore it. The AI is figuring stuff out. Girl, it's so fine. 'Cause I know that you're mine, babe. When it's done, just click accept and turn. I want to look at this first. All right, so we're going to turn all these off, and we're not going to worry about these meters or if it's clipping at all till the very end. All right. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to grab an exciter, bring it to the beginning of the chain, turn on oversampling, get your band set up. Let's go with like 170 something right there and 5.6 or so. Boom. All right. When you're in the Ozone exciter, mess around with all the saturation settings. See what sounds good on what areas. See what you like for what purposes. Even mess around with it in your mixes. It'll do wonders. Personally, for a lot of low-end situations, especially in hip-hop or R&B, I like the dual triode. Even rock, I'll go with the dual triode. And how I figure out what saturation works best is I like to put too much of it in and then dial it back. So let's hear what this sounds like, just the low end. So I'm getting that bounce there. All right. Let's unsolo this. Let's solo this. And I'm going to try warm for this one. Let's try dialing it down a little bit. Turn it off. It adds more presence to the mid-range there. Now let's move along to here. I'm going to switch this to retro. It gives a really nice crispy high end. Kind of blows it out. Now that you've got your exciter set and ready to go, let's turn on the equalizer. I find that this is very drastic. I don't like too much moves on my EQ and mastering. We'll keep similar settings. Want that high end up there. Okay, now this guy right here, I like to do a flat high pass filter with a 6 decibel roll off. All right, now we're going to switch this to mid side. We're going to work on the side. I'm going to cut low frequencies on the sides because all it does is muddy up everything. I think. Girl, I miss your mind. Girl, I really miss your mind. And now with this band, I'm going to boost some vocal presence. And this band, I'm going to boost everything else. Okay, now let's just hear the side information by itself. Nice.
Girl, I really miss your mind.
Okay, now we're going to do something cool with the second equalizer. We're going to give some stereo spread to it. Alright, so we're going to turn it to left, right. We're going to immediately turn our channel link on. That's very important. Exit out of this guy, exit out of this band, and then we are going to work with just these two. So I'm going to find a spot in the vocal that I like to boost. It's usually around 2K. Looks like it's about at...
Girl, it's a vibe.
We only got to boost it by dB. And with this band, what we're going to do is we're going to try to cut some mud, usually between 3 and 4. Depends on the song and the content, obviously. Now we want to turn channel link off because we're going to go right over to the right side. We're going to move this forward. So we have some difference in the left and right. I want to make the difference more apparent. And try to move them further. Now we're going to toggle the equalizer on and off and see the difference of the stereo spread it makes.
Girl, I miss your mind. Girl, I really miss your mind.
Man, it really brings those vocals to the outside. I like it. Now we're moving on to dynamics processing. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off. We don't really want to compress the low end more than we have to. It might cause distortion. That's undesirable. So we're going to turn this guy on. Let's solo him out. We're going to mess around with this after we set our attack and release. I want the snares to kind of come through still before the compressor clamps down. So in between 60 and 70 is good. And then I want it to be like a slow release. I want to kind of smooth everything out. So now we're going to play with the mix knob.
Girl, I miss your mind. Girl, I really miss your mind.
And you want to make sure you have your auto gain compensation on so you can actually hear what you're doing accurately. Alright, now we got to move on to the imager, which it's just one little tiny thing with the imager. I'm going to keep everything below here. We're just going to shut that off. This is the important part. So we are going to, you got to be careful with this because what you're doing is you're pushing everything out. Now if you push it too far, it just sounds like there's a disconnect between the listener and the music. You want to find that sweet spot in between the two.
Girl, I miss your mind. Girl, I really miss your mind.
See what I mean? You don't need to push it that much to give it that extra flavor. Now there's a bunch of other modules that I didn't use in this, which you can experiment around with them. But let's move on to dynamic EQ, which we let the AI do its job here. Turn the maximizer on. Make sure you click on true peak so that nothing goes above the ceiling. And we're going to set the ceiling a little bit lower, 1.1 dB, just so that when any streaming services converts it to MP3 or whatever codec they use, doesn't create ISPs or intersample peaks that happen in between the samples. So now I'm going to switch this to transient here because I want to have some more transient information and I want to emphasize the transient. So let's listen to it while we're doing this, all right?
Girl, I miss your mind. mine. Girl, it's a vibe. Cause I know that you're mine, babe.
See what I mean by distorting?
Girl, I miss your mind. Girl, I really miss your mind.
Alright, I like those settings. We're on to the last part, dithering. We're going to turn this on. Now, dithering just adds a noise that's more pleasant to listen to than the noise floor at that volume. Now, I did a lot of listening tests. I like Ozone's the best. Ableton has a few of them. I tested those, didn't like them. I tested RX's, I didn't like that. I like Ozone the best. It's weird that they're made by the same company, I know, but Ozone is my favorite form of dithering, so I will use that over anything, and I like to do a low amount even if I'm not converting the bit depth. Then I'll do max noise shaping. So auto blank, limit peaks, hit the reset button for fun, click the filter, and then you're done. Alright. So I think we've got everything set. I want to freeze this track so we can see how it sounds comparatively to the original. Alright, so now that you got your track frozen, hold Option and drag it down to the next one, and you'll see a different waveform. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unfreeze this. We're going to save this, and I'm going to save this now as 1. And then we're going to delete Ozone. Now, I'm pretty sure I've level matched these to the point where you're not going to be able to tell the difference. Original, mastered.
Girl, I miss your mind.
Let's fast forward to a more busy part of the song. Original,
Girl, I miss your mind.
mastered. Original,
Girl, I really miss your mind, babe.
mastered.
Girl, I miss your mind. Don't wanna leave you in the night when we fucking fight. Got it on my brain, let it go and get wise. Never have to worry if you got another guy. Niggas know I'm crazy, yeah, especially about my wife. Keep them switches on me like it's turning out for life. Tell you what I want, but it's not about my life. Tell you about your head, I'ma focus to the right. Only speaking truth when I say I miss your mind. Damn, I miss your mind, babe.
Oh yeah, it sounds much flatter.
Girl, I miss your mind.
Oh wow. Night and day difference.
Girl, I really miss your mind.
Alright, well there you have it. Mastered a track with Ozone, showed you how to do it. I encourage you to mess around with the settings, save some presets of your own that'll allow you to speed up the process. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, consider liking, subscribing, and even hitting that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I put out a new video. Thanks. I'll see you in the next one.